The next 33 tips are going to help you with your retention on YouTube. Don't yell unless the situation warrants it. So don't go like this, because excessive yelling often leads to less engagement. Moments of suspense are great for retention because we can already see dopamine heightening before a payoff. So don't hesitate to stretch things a little longer before you're going to do your payoff. Pranks that harm or put another person in a difficult situation are often bad for retention because they are associated with bullying behavior, making the creator look bad and making the viewer lose interest. Don't make jokes about pee, even if they seem innocent, because a lot of times people are eating while watching your content. White text with black background is actually not good for retention. While subtitles that come in one word at a time seem visually interesting, they take away so much attention from the visual content behind it that we often want to avoid them. Instead, we want to use strings of words, which are a lot better because that allows the viewer to read and look at the background image. With 95% of the world using the metric system, it's a good idea to show measurements in both meters as well as inches and not just one or the other. This is the same for weights, where we use pounds and kilograms and not just pounds or kilograms. This rule assumes that you're trying to have a global appeal. Combining slow zoom-ins with a cut zoom out are a great way to remove that jarring feeling when you're trying to remove dead air in your videos. The quality of your audio can have a drastic impact on the performance of your content, because we often relate better quality with better perceived quality of the content. By the way, good advice for both small and large creators: if you want to reduce cost and have great audio quality, just go for a lav mic. It always works. While music is a great way to evoke emotion in entertainment content, it is often disruptive in educational content. For that reason, we often keep the music simple or even minimal in educational settings. The only exception is when you're trying to evoke an emotion. When you're recording in a group setting, it's often good to make sure that one of the people in the group is a calmer person to create contrast between both the chaotic people as well as the calm person, and this helps with not making sure that the audience gets overstimulated. When you have a listicle video, 10 ways, this or that, it's always a great way to connect them through something called stair stepping, which is where you go from smallest to biggest, where you go from least expensive or cheapest to most expensive. You don't have to do this, but it often helps with retention. If you provide too much context at the beginning of the video, it often confuses more than anything, and it actually hurts your retention in the long run. That's why we often split up our context throughout our video and we don't give too much information at once. Because traveling from one location to another is often bad for retention, we try to keep it minimal by just highlighting the initial steps of the travel, one shot from the travel, and then the arrival. These 3 moments are enough to show to the viewer, hey, we have traveled. Ease into deep feelings, because if a deep feeling comes out of nowhere, it will often push away a lot of your audience. Also, don't linger on too much onto those feelings, because yes, long lingering onto feelings does lead to retention losses. Keeping your outros tight is a great way not only for retention, but also for satisfaction. Simple language often leads to better retention than complex language. Aim for a 3rd grade reader level type of vocabulary. We also want to do this because a lot of our viewers often don't have English as their first language. If you're a foreigner with an accent, don't try to hide it. As long as people can understand what you're saying, it can even be helpful, because this accent makes it so much easier to stand out from other people, and that uniqueness actually helps for retention. While breaking the 4th wall by talking to your cameraman is a great way to make the content feel authentic, if your camera crew looks like they're filming a movie, that authenticity goes straight out of the door. Plot twists without foreshadowing often cause confusion, which is bad for retention. While we don't have to be too fancy with our camera work, there are 2 good rules that we want to remember. If we want to convey emotion, we use closer camera angles. If we want to establish the space, we use wider camera angles. Pacing isn't about cutting fast. It's about making sure there's enough information in each shot so that the viewer doesn't get bored. Often, cutting fast helps by introducing a lot of new information at a good pace. but you don't have to do this. Repetition is one of the worst things for retention. Don't repeat a line and don't say two lines that kind of have the same meaning. Repetition is one of the worst things for retention. Don't repeat a line and don't say two lines that kind of have the same meaning. Okay, that was kind of to mess with you. You know, fun fact, you can actually break retention rules. That doesn't mean people are not gonna watch for longer. It's just how many do you break? The rule of 3 means that you can give 3 examples as long as the third one breaks expectation. If it doesn't do that, you often want to stay with 2 examples only. Adding unexpected elements to your videos is a great way to keep your viewers on your toes, which is actually good for retention. Voiceovers are a great way to explain complex rule sets. However, telling them in real life is often the better choice. A confident voice is more engaging than some voice that doesn't sound confident. Confidence is key for retention. Viewers often have a negative relationship with certain words or grouping of words, such as "this video is sponsored by," or "but first, we're going to," or "make sure to sign up," and there's a lot more of these. Yes, you will see them in your retention charts. The relevancy of a guest shouldn't always affect screen time, because that guest could be relevant at that moment, but a month later not anymore. And what we actually notice with retention is that they don't always guarantee high retention. Sometimes you'll have a famous person and retention still goes down. Memes often lead to retention losses, especially memes that quickly outdate themselves. Not all blur is good blur. Blur too much, nobody's a clue what you're trying to tease. Blur too little, and people can already figure it out before you reveal it. Blur just the right amount and it keeps people guessing, and it will make them curious to what is behind the blur. These were 33 general retention rules. Again, you can break some of them, it's just about how many you break. If you want more and if you want me to do these for a specific niche, let me know and I'll do another video of these. Oh, and also, here's some other videos you might want to check out. Thanks for watching.